Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Hillstone webinar. As we have covered the XDR solution a couple of times this past year, we thought that for this iteration of the XDR discussion, we delve a little bit deeper into how XDR extends its efficacy, discuss some of the relevant case studies, and finally, close off with a demo of our most up-to-date iSource UI, which will be run by Lee Chun, Senior Technical Marketing Manager here at Hillstone Networks. It's good to have him back. Before we get started, we want to let you know that this webinar will be recorded and the on-demand link will be shared. Please feel free to post any questions you may have, and we'll cover those during the Q&A section. So without further ado, let's get started. The X in XDR, as we all know by now, stands for extended. But how exactly does it go about extending our organization's detection and response scheme? In addition to covering two ways that iSource, Hillstone's XDR, can specifically extend an organization's detection and response scheme, I wanted to cover it briefly from a historical perspective. Originally, before XDR, there was endpoint detection and response, or EDR for short. EDR was a big revelation because it could collect and analyze data from endpoints and act upon those findings. EDR, however, was limited to just the endpoints. Unfortunately, as innovation doesn't stop for anyone, securing just the endpoints is not enough. Sensitive information can now also be found in the users, data, cloud, and others. XDR can help fill in that gap. One final thing I wanted to add about the plethora of detection and response solutions is that they are not standalone solutions, and they are not completely different from each other. They and these solutions that I speak of are SIEM, EDR, MDR, XDR, and SOAR. A combination of these solutions can work together and complement each other for each company's unique needs. For example, Enterprise A may use a different combination as compared to Enterprise B. Just something to keep in mind. While iSource is indeed very capable of integrating third-party devices into its framework, which we will discuss briefly later, for those who are returning Hillstone customers, iSource does specialize in integrating Hillstone products and services. To provide an example, when iSource is integrated with the Hillstone A-Series firewall, iSource is very efficient when it comes to working through all the metadata collected, eliminating the false positive, removing the dupes, and also analyzing the data without using too much CPU. This idea is kind of similar to how you could probably cook a pot of spaghetti that's based on my recipe, but it's going to take much more effort for you than to just cook a pot of spaghetti based on your recipe. After all, for you, it's probably just muscle memory. Now, of course, depending on how picky the eaters are, maybe they only want to eat the spaghetti that's based on my recipe, since, it's awesome. So this is kind of similar to how when you implement an XDR solution within an environment, it's very likely that there are going to be other third-party products already there that the customers want to retain and continue to use, which is why third-party integration with our solution can still be very important. And which is why, connecting it back to spaghetti, being able to cook both types of spaghetti may still be important. So essentially what I'm saying here is that the chef will still be an expert of their own style of spaghetti, similar to how the Hillstone XDR is going to be an expert when it's integrating native products. To go more in depth and to provide a specific example, iSource can interact with our SPDS and, as I mentioned briefly, the next-gen firewall. Together, it can provide a very comprehensive detection and automated response solution. So traditionally, the SPDS only collects data from the network. And traditionally, our next-gen firewalls tend to offer protection at the perimeters with relatively static security policies. But when the XDR is implemented, it can collect data from more than just the network, and it can leverage manual or automated playbooks to dynamically automate responses with the integrated firewalls or native firewalls and other security devices. To think of this simply, let's say that there's a problem in the world If we only evaluate this problem from a scientific perspective, we might miss the morality or the politics of implementing a solution to this problem. Both of these aspects are very important to still consider because people don't always do things just because it is the right thing to do. People will also evaluate if it is convenient for them or if it is possible to even undertake such changes. I mean, just look at the security infrastructures that exist. Everybody knows that they need to upgrade their security infrastructures, but overhauling legacy infrastructures can not only be incredibly difficult, but could also be very, very costly. And the re-education costs could be huge too. The point here is we do need to consider a problem from multiple angles in order to get better context. This is similar to how the XDR can collect data from multiple perspectives, and by doing so, it can also enhance the native capabilities of existing products like the next-gen firewall or SVDS. On the previous slide, we discussed how iSource is able to amplify the effectiveness of existing solutions. Well, here we are to evaluate it from a practicality standpoint. We understand that not everyone in the world has Hillstone exclusive products. As such, we've included a rather robust integration capability. Our third-party integration capability is generally provided either via certain third-party firewalls that we support, such as SANG4, Fortinet, or others, or we can enable third-party integration through syslog integrations, which can end up being a little more complicated because of how log parsing algorithms are required and how they work. Leitrim will go a bit more in depth of this new capability during the demo portion later. In the meantime, I will explain it kind of from a high level. Most security products will generate syslogs. iSource is able to read syslog and hence is able to integrate these logs produced by almost all third-party products. In the rare events that it isn't the case, the consulting arm of Hillstone is able to generate log parsing algorithms to be able to at least enable one-way communication, i.e. gathering logs from various points and contextualizing them during the threat correlation analytics to make sure insights are more actionable. If it's a third-party firewall, it could be integrated, depending if it's within our list of potentially available integrations. There's just a set of policy configurations that will need to be inputted. And as it pertains to collecting logs from various security devices, as long as you integrate the security devices with iSource and instruct said security devices to send logs to iSource, should be good to go. The one further step that may be needed is configuring the log parsing rules within iSource so that the threat events from the logs can be captured properly. The threat events detected from the third-party firewall logs at this point can now be treated the same as any of the other threat events that have been detected from Hillstone native products. After receiving threat events, we need to have an effective manner of responding to them, which is where the playbook comes in. Almost all the processes are the same when writing a playbook with a third-party firewall, with the exception being that if you want to deploy a policy to a third-party firewall, you will need to configure and set up the third-party firewalls as an enforcement point. This way, it can be found in the enforcement list, or it's also known as a linked entity list in the web UI. Now we're going to switch gears and pivot over to two XDR case studies, beginning with a deployment of our XDR solution in an enterprise associated with the finance industry. The customer in question had a few pain points to juggle. To begin, the customer was equipped with existing perimeter security devices, but these devices were rendered ineffective to a certain degree because of their inability to communicate with the intranet. Sometimes people often forget that some of the most effective and most detrimental threats can come from within. Additionally, the existing firewall could help detect threats that pass through the perimeter. However, due to them leveraging the dynamic host configuration protocols, these IPs of the endpoints are constantly changing, meaning it could be difficult to locate where the risky endpoints actually are without extra context or information from differing perspectives. To address these pain points, When you heard me mention the intranet and the internal network, that obviously means it will be a job for Hillstone's server breach detection system, right? That is true, but it also isn't just that simple. Due to the increasing complexity of threats, context can help make alerts more actionable. So the deployment of SBDS in this situation was additionally integrated within iSource. This way, the extra asset information, threat logs, metadata, and net flow collected by SBDS could be digested and analyzed by iSource. The EDR that was deployed could send the asset information and threat logs back to iSource as well. So that could include baseline inspection, antivirus, and other security measures can additionally be taken. The standalone EDR and standalone SBDS were enhanced by iSource's ability to amalgamate all the extra data points and communicate to a more streamlined and overarching plan that'll greatly improve the efficiency of operations and management. For our next case study, we'll look at a deployment of iSource with a service provider. The customer in question had a large organizational structure and therefore needed a solution that could help them achieve unified supervision of multiple subordinate organizations. This abundance of organizations everywhere was compounded by the existence of a complex network environment, meaning it would be even more difficult to locate the risky hosts. Essentially, the visibility capability prior to Hillstone's involvement could definitely use some work. Finally, similar to a prior pain point mentioned on the previous slide, both the headquarters and branch offices needed a solution that could help mitigate intranet threats. So we'll work backwards this time through the pain points, starting with the final pain point that I mentioned, because it's similar to the pain point from our other case study. For the intranet threats that were especially prevalent yet difficult to detect because of how large the service provider was, the deployment of SBDS combined with iSource can help secure the space. As far as addressing the overall complexity, breadth, and depth of the existing organizational structure, XDR's similarity to our See, Understand, Act approach can help cover the spread. To begin with, XDR is able to collect data from branches, headquarters, the perimeter, the cloud, just wherever security devices were currently deployed. All that data could then be contextually analyzed, and the follow-up process via automated or manual playbooks helps create a closed-loop response, effectively locating the source of attacks. For the customer, iSource can help create a human-to-machine collaboration. By training the XDR platform with samples from real-life traffic, it can help it develop statistical simulations based on historical data and machine learning algorithms. With Hillstone possessing AI technologies that have been working since the early 2010s, we aim to help to leverage our expertise in this field to kind of help customers take a more hands-off approach when they've deployed our XDR solution. Additionally, after generating playbooks that are based on security incidents and threat intelligence, iSource can help achieve the idea of a metaphorical fix-me button. Another reason the customer chose Hillstone iSource is its ease of use. With a comprehensive dashboard that can truly help the team visualize the flow of traffic and help a team easily see what's going on where, and with the combination of built-in playbooks, event correlation, and highly accurate and automated alerts, iSource helps reduce the complexity of security operations significantly. And this will allow for, wait for it, security that works. At this point, I'd like to pass it over to Lichun, who will walk us through a demo of iSource. So without further ado, Lichun, are you there?
Yeah, thanks, Gary.
All right, awesome.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
all
I
right.
can hear you just fine. Let me stop sharing my screen.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll just go through the key features as well as some, new features in our latest release. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it just fine.
Yeah, okay. So when we log into the web UI of our iSource, we did a lot of change. So now we can see there is a favorite analysis, which is a new feature in our R7 release. So you can subscribe what you are interested instead of giving you a comprehensive and all the information included. But you can subscribe to what you're interested and see favorite threat events, favorite assets. So it's more customization in the visibility. So in the next tab we have assets analysis, new for the UI, and we basically provide an overview as well as some detailed analysis with static informations about the assets. Now, next is about the tracing mode. So it allows you to search intelligence by inputting IP, domain, or MD5 information to quickly search some intelligence. And next is about the service monitoring. So it's something new about in this release. So we have a traffic monitoring allowing you to see the traffic analysis as well as the static informations. And the other one is access topology. So this feature will be more or less like if you are familiar with Hillstone's Cloud Hive, we have a traffic insights, which will give you a network topology about the assets, how each assets access each other. So basically, it provides you more insights about the traffic. All right. Beyond that, we have application monitoring. So it will show you different application, the traffic usage of different applications with names, types, or subtypes. So it's internet traffic or communication. For internet traffic, there's a social network, Insta message, or something like that. So it's give you a very fine-grained detailed information about the traffic of different applications. So next we move the full screen dashboard to this page. So you can see, click whatever you like to see the different full screen dashboard. And also we now support cascade deployment, which means you can register one of the iSource as the sub platform of the main one. So in the main one, you can directly go to the sub platform's web UI. And next, I would like to talk about the threat. So here we provide this is new for us. Here we provide an overview of the events. So we categorize these with different scenarios, and we also have the different the statistics, the trend, something like that. And here is something new for us. It's event list. We have, when we click this button, we can see we have 2 BDS registered to the platform. And when you click these, choose one of them, then it can show you the threads that is collected by this BDS. So it's further integration with our BDS and iSource platform. All right, next, I would like to talk about the response. So response actually is one of the key features in iSource because it's an extended detection and response. Of course, response is very important. And automated response helps a lot in especially in large scale deployment. And Playbook is one of the key features that drive the automation of the response. So in the Playbook, you can define whatever the action is when there is a threat triggered. We can see we have several predefined actions, but you may also create your own by just clicking new one. So let me just quickly do editing for an existing one. So this probably is a template. We can input the Playbook name and choose next. So in this Playbook, we can define the trigger information like threat intelligence actions, or you can define an action like a firewall policy or IP block, or you can create a manual alerts through the email or create tickets in your systems. Then you can define the whole process of the response when you find something, find some threats. So this allows you, to automate the work in daily operations. And we also have this new function is response record. So if there is a automated response triggered, there will be a record here. And you can see the detailed information and why this is triggered. One thing I would like to mention here is the linked entity. So when in Gary's presentation, he mentioned about the integration with the third party. So yeah, it's great that we, beyond the NG firewall, HSM, WAF, and ADC from Hillstone, we also provide the integration with some third-party vendors. So we can deploy some, firewall policies to like Huawei or Fortinet firewalls. Here, you can see we have 3 Huawei firewall linked. So basically, you need to, choose the policy profile, which is defined here, and then you can deploy policy accordingly. Same applies to Fortinet. So let's take a look at the policy profile. We have some predefined policy profile for like Palo Alto, Stanford, or Fortinet. And also it allows you to, customize and create your own, by defining your own policy profiles. All right. Next, I would like to talk about the intelligence. So here we can see we added the whitelist and blacklist for the intelligence. So it's a new feature for us. It's very straightforward, but I would not go to the take too much time on it. It's very straightforward. Next is about asset. So asset is the key to all the organizations. So we made the asset detection as an automation process. So you can define a task to actively scan the defined IP address or a range of IP addresses to find the relative assets, and then you can choose them to import or just ignore these. All right. Next is the rules engine. So basically, it's the definition of the detection engine. So same as before. we still categorize this as a threat engine and kill chain engine, which is correlation analysis engine. And we have some default, but we add more support of different kind of attacks. And here you can define your own, analysis engine. All right. Then I would like to talk about the log. So for the third-party integration, detection is one of the key integrations. So right now, we would like to support as much as we can for the third-party syslogs. But right now, we are still working hard with the integration. So it's just a reference. So I think we are working with our engineering team is working hard on the integration with Huawei syslogs, and so we right now we have Huawei firewall threat syslog integrated, and for the rest, I think we are still evaluating. And so if you have any requirement in the field or opportunity in the field with third-party integrations, so do feel free to let us know. And since we would like to position this as an open platform, you can do the customization of log parsing as before. So you can create your own log parsing template and then do the parsing for the third parties as well. Last but not least, it's about the system customization. It's new for us. So a lot of customers would like to, especially the integrators, would like to have their own, or the customer would like to have their own logos in their threat operation systems. Now we can support the customization of logo. You can see the product logo. You can customize this, so it's in the login page, and you can also choose the customized logo on the top left menu, corner of the login page as well. And a similar case apply here. You can see there's a custom image here, and for the report, you can choose the customized logo in your report as well. And last but not least, it's copyright information on the you can turn this on or off on the login page. All right, it's a really quick go through. So Gary, that's all for my demo. Back to you.